Japan, made up of a string of islands just east of the Korean Peninsula in the North Pacific Ocean. Japan is slightly smaller in landmass size than the state of California. Yet it boasts a population of 126,919,659 people. That's equal to almost 40% of the population of the entire United States. Japan's 6 largest cities account for more than 50% of its total population. Of these people, Japan is composed mostly of Japanese natives, of which 99% of them speak Japanese. English, though, is the most prominently used second language. Life expectancy in Japan reaches 83 years of age. And despite holding the third lowest infant mortality rate, Japan has been suffering from population shrinkage due to aging citizens and a low birth rate. Japan ranks as a top-performing country in quality of education, maintaining a 99% literacy rate. Shrinking population, combined with dramatic rises in the economy, have led to low unemployment rates and high demand for labor. So why did I pick Japan? I love their rich history and traditions that seem to blend seamlessly into their everyday lives. I am fascinated by how prosperous their economy is, and despite many cultural differences, there are so many similarities in business between Japan and the United States. I appreciate their family-oriented culture and respect shown as people age. And most of all, I love their greatest gift, sushi. So let's get down to business. Japan is the world's 4th largest trade partner and the 3rd largest economy. This is largely due to the fact that Japan has virtually no natural resources, which lead to large amounts of importing. Their government suffers from huge amounts of debt, nearly 232% of gross domestic product. Labor shortages have driven wages higher, opening doors for less skilled and less educated workers, also forcing employers to offer guaranteed lifetime employment. Over the last century, Japan has endured crippling disasters from World War II to the 2011 massive earthquake, which caused a tsunami, leaving Japan and their economy in ruins due to the overwhelming extent of the destruction. Despite these setbacks, Japan has managed to bounce back with low unemployment rates and low inflation. Their economy continues to thrive with gross domestic product of $4.6 trillion, stemming from agriculture, industry, and services. Exporting large amounts of vehicle and parts, electronics and semiconductors, rice and beef are some of their largest agricultural exports. Lack of resources has made Japan the world's largest importer of coal and natural gas in the world. Also the 2nd largest importer of oil. Japanese business etiquette is a complex system based around showing respect for others. Modesty and showing respect to others is the hallmark of Japanese life. Silence is viewed as professionalism. People tend to be very reserved and mostly use nonverbal cues in communication. Bowing is an important form of showing respect. The deeper the bow, the deeper the respect shown. The more senior the person, the deeper you should go with it. Handshaking is used, but usually reserved for Western business ventures, where it is expected. Business card exchanges are an event not to be taken lightly. Cards must be given with both hands in due reverence, making sure the recipient can read it. The recipient must then take it with both hands, being sure to look at it for a few long moments in a small meditation. Once the exchange has been completed amongst all parties, you place the cards out in front of you during your meeting. This avoids undue disrespect, being unable to remember who you are speaking with at the table. Japanese homes tend to be small, so little business entertaining is done there. Going out is the only option, and Japanese appreciate good food. They particularly enjoy experiencing foods that are local fare to where they are traveling. Beer is typically chosen to accompany business dinners, but never pour your own. And never skewer or point with your chopstick. It is considered very rude. Slang should be avoided with Japanese. They tend to be literal thinkers, and misinterpretation is almost certain to happen, so speak as literally as possible. If you happen to take public transportation while in Japan, try to be quiet and polite. Japanese tend to be passionate about baseball, and it is always a safe topic for conversation. If you are invited to karaoke, don't even think about refusing. And if you are in Japan, you are going to karaoke. It is a favorite pastime for the Japanese business person. Work and culture are almost synonymous in Japan. It is more than just a part of life. Significant pride is taken in identifying themselves as an employee, and what they do for work is secondary. Space in heavily populated Japan can pose a real problem. Homes are too small for entertaining, so going out is a necessity. There is no room for overnight guests, so business people often sleep in coffin-like capsules instead of large hotel rooms. Lawns at homes are usually so small, scissors and knives are used to cut them. Mothers have no choice but to take their children to the park. It has become so common that the term park mom has been used many times in TVs and movies there. Bicycles are used to get to the train instead of cars. Even with this space-saving transportation, parking is a real problem. So special parking garages have been built to accommodate the massive numbers of bicycles parked at the station. Cleanliness in Japan is a significant priority. Everyone contributes in cleaning around the neighborhood. In schools, there are no janitors because students and staff take time out of their day to clean. Shoes are always removed before entering a building to limit dirt inside. Most households in Japan recycle 50% of their household products. Gender roles in Japan tend to remain very traditional. 65% of men and 71% of women believe women should focus on the home while men dominate at the workforce. Despite this fact, women control the household finances. Very few people use credit cards there, and the average household saves up to 20% of their household income. Women are some of the most active investors. They tend to be very careful shoppers, but will settle for quality before price. On the technology side, you will find an army of vending machines in Japan that will sell you anything you can think of. Cramped commuting creates dependency on small cell phones and devices for entertainment, as reading a newspaper is nearly impossible. People use their cell phones for everything there. Japanese, though, tend to be less technology savvy in the household, having no modern conveniences that Americans have, such as dishwashers, stoves, or clothes dryers. Hanko goes as a tradition that goes back 5,000 years in Japanese history. It is a signature stamp that signifies your name. You must use this stamp anytime you sign your name there. Everyone has one, and you don't go anywhere without it. Relations between Japan and America began in the late 18th century and remained very civil through the early 20th century. Trade disputes erupted with our two countries during World War II, leading to an attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, and virtually ended with atomic destruction on two of Japan's most prominent cities, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. America worked with Japan after the war was over to fix the ruins that the war had created structurally and technologically to help create prosperity again in the suffering country. The Commercial Arbitration Trade Agreement, which was enacted in September 16, 1952, agreed to facilitate commercial contract disagreements between our countries through legal arbitration process in America, Japan, or a non-biased third party. This went a long way to help mend business relations between our two countries. They remain to this day a close ally politically and economically. In general, America imports around twice as much from Japan as it exports to the country. In November of 2010, U.S.-Japan Economic Harmonization Initiative was signed. The initiative aims to contribute to both countries' economic growth by promoting approaches that facilitate trade, addressing issues of common interest. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has made it his mission to aid Japan in keeping up with growing demands. He's working to break gender roles by encouraging women to enter the workplace. Businesses have recognized the importance of breaking these roles and have pushed the initiative to place more women into management roles. The minister has also become a large supporter of the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which will cut tariffs to the Pacific, including Japan. This will create new export opportunities for Japanese businesses while opening new markets for the much-needed imports to the country.